Hello, today I am talking about Rowley Jefferson's Awesome Friendly Spooky Stories by Jeff Kinney. This is the third book in the Rowley Jefferson spin-off series, spin-off from Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I still read these books and read each new installment. I haven't been reading them all the time since I was in school. I didn't read any for a while, but I got caught up on them within the last few years. The author started writing books from Rowley's perspective, which is quite an interesting turn. The handwriting in the journals is a little different. The illustrations are a different style, and I personally find Rowley to be a much more likable character than Greg, so I've enjoyed these. I recently got each of the Rowley books, my own copies of them. I had read these two from the library a few years ago, and I'm sure my library has this one as well, but I decided I would just wait till I own it to read it, so I finally got this recently and read this. And there's going to be a new book coming out, I think August 11th. It's basically a part 2 to this. I think it's just called Rowley Jefferson's Awesome Friendly Spooky Stories Part 2 or something. So I look forward to that. This book is a collection of short stories told from Rowley's perspective. Some of them have characters that are clearly based on himself or his family or Greg. Some of them are more original. Some of them seem to be based on already existing stories with his own twist to it. And if you know Rowley, you know that the stories aren't that scary, but they could be scary to him. So some of the stories I'll describe. There are different spooky kind of creatures involved, like skeletons, vampires, werewolves, things like that. Some of them are more just real people, but the things that happen are kind of wild. Some of them might have some sort of supernatural element to them. So there's one story, for example, about a boy who was best friends with someone, and his friend, basically it's implied that he died and he became a ghost, and the ghost comes back and they interact, and that's all I'll say about that. There are also zombies and aliens. There's one story that involves mummies. I found the stories to be, they sounded like something Rowley would write. And that doesn't mean they're bad, but also Rowley's 12, so you wouldn't expect them to be that good anyway. But I think the author was good at switching between writing from Greg's perspective to now writing in Rowley's and making it actually sound like something he would write and not just the author or Greg. I think my favorite story was The Nap, about an old woman who lives by herself in a retirement home and likes to watch TV all day, take a nap, make herself a sandwich, and then nap some more. Maybe that's not her exact schedule, but it's something like that. And basically her family doesn't interact with her much, and it gets pretty wild. I do think there are some clever twists in the stories. There are some things that I don't see coming, or things that are mentioned earlier that I'm like, oh right, that was a part of it. So I do think the author got me in some ways there. So I do think that ultimately they are fun and entertaining. They're kind of wild. Some of the stories have kind of depressing endings. Some of them have happier endings, which makes sense with Rowley. The story that I just mentioned with the old woman, you probably might be like, how is this a scary story? And a lot of them start out very contemporary, and you're like, this sounds like a regular story about an everyday person, how is this scary? But then there's some kind of twist to it. Even if it's not super crazy, there's something that Rowley would find scary, so it's entertaining. So how scary are they? Well, that depends. I'm not the target audience for one. To a younger kid, they could be scarier. I'd say maybe for the age range they're for, but it also just depends on the kid. It depends on what they're used to, what they've seen. If there's someone who plays a lot of violent, scary video games, for example, this will probably be nothing to them. I mean, it's for kids anyway, so it's not too crazy. It's more of just ridiculous, I would say, and enjoyable. But ultimately, these books are easy, fun, nostalgic reads with a really easy to read format because it's in a journal and there are illustrations on every page. So it's pretty easy to read just a little bit or a lot at once, which I would do. It was very easy for me to want to just pick this back up and finish it. I'm all caught up with Diary of a Wimpy Kid, especially now after reading this, so now I've read all of them. But this does inspire me to want to continue reading Dork Diaries, because I feel like I only ever read some of them in full when I was younger, so I might go back to those. I don't know if I'll read them all. I'll try it, starting with the second book, seeing how I feel about that, but those are similar in terms of format, so those would also probably be easy reads, and I do enjoy this kind of journal diary format and the school settings and all that, so I might enjoy those. Overall, I did have a fun time reading this. I was interested in the stories and seeing where they would go. I think a lot of the times I couldn't predict the ending. I guess I wasn't really trying to anyway, I was just reading them, but I mean, it was fun. It was a nice time. I'd give this 4 stars. And if you've read this or anything in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid universe, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I will definitely be reading and probably reviewing the next Rowley book when it comes out. I thought the author was done with these. I think he wrote one a year for 3 years in a row and then stopped. It's been a few years since this one came out, but it's cool that he's going to be doing it again. So thank you for watching.